morning. On Thursday, November 21st, 2019, LSD Sentry personnel were informed of a school shooting threat against students at a South Los Angeles school known as Animo Maine Jemison Charter Middle School. The threat alleged a student was going to shoot other students at the school on Friday, November 22nd, today. Multiple students overheard the school threat on campus, and teachers emailed the administration about concerns raised by the students. School officials contacted the Sheriff's Department immediately. The deputies immediately initiated an investigation and conducted interviews to gather more details. They developed information that led them to the subject, a 13-year-old male who allegedly made the threat. Station detectives were contacted and a thorough investigation was conducted. The subject address was determined and was located, and a search warrants were authored for the residence. During the execution of the search warrant, a rifle with a high-capacity magazine was seized along with ammunition for the rifle, and that is the rifle that was seized. In addition, this investigation led detectives to identify the subject also had in his possession a rudimentary hand-drawn map of the school, as well as a list containing names of both students and staff members from the school. With all incidents like these, we ask all Los Angeles County residents that if they see or hear something, to say something. In this case, the fact that people stepped forward and said what they had heard led to us to be able to prevent a tragedy today. So definitely kudos to the staff and students of this school for doing that. We have detectives from local stations working with school resource officers, crime analysts, and our Major Crimes Bureau on a constant basis monitoring to ensure the safety and security of all of our schools. But we have to have information in order to act. We take all threats against schools in our jurisdictions very, very seriously, and we will investigate all of them and assess the credibility, and we will take action with the information we have. And the men and women of the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department, we're constantly preparing and trained for active shooter events that could harm our communities. Unpredictable situation, preparation is always going to be the key. And we have a page and a video about how to prepare for an active shooter, and it's activeshooter.lasd.org. Now, I'm going to introduce the station detective, Sergeant. Where do you go? Oh, here you go. Sergeant Dean.
Hello, everybody. My name is Sergeant Bobby Dean, B-O-B-B-Y-D-E-A-N, and I'm one of the detective sergeants at Century Sheriff Station. Yesterday, just as the sheriff said, we received a call of a threat at the middle school. Patrol deputies went out there. We were able to conduct many interviews at the time, ultimately leading, just as the sheriff said, to the subject's home. Our detectives went out there. We authored a search warrant, ultimately searched that residence where we recovered that firearm and some other things that are an important part of our investigation. The juvenile was taken into custody without further incident, and at this point it is a fresh investigation and it is ongoing.
Do you have any questions?
Can you characterize the amount of ammunition you found?
Yeah, we found about 100 rounds of ammunition.
About 100 rounds.
Do we know where the gun came from?
The weapon is unregistered, and we're trying to determine the origin of it. But it does have a serial number.
Did he make the actual threat to the school campus, or how did he do so?
Sir, we are in the infancy stages of this investigation, and we are investigating every mode or possible mode of that threat. We still have several interviews to conduct with witnesses as well as potential victims before we make a final statement about that.
Was it online, though, or was he talking to friends about what he was? Was it verbal? Was it face-to-face?
These were in person, correct?
Sorry, how many people? Sketch of the campus.
Yes, sir.
List of names. How would you describe the degree of sophistication on this? Did he have a serious plan on how he intended to do what he intended to do? Did he have a list How many people was he intending to take out, names, otherwise, anything like that?
I mean, he did have a list of names, and we're trying to determine exactly what that list was for at this point. The map was a fundamental map of the school, and as far as his level of seriousness and his ability to carry out the threat, we're going to treat every threat as with the utmost serious nature as if he is going to.
You got a rifle and 100 rounds. Anything there in the way of ancillary equipment that would have helped him in that kind of event, a tactical vest, body armor, anything else like that?
We're going to leave all what we found during the search at this point in our hands just for the safety of the investigation.
Sheriff, if you would, 13 years old, you got a little bit of a problem there as a juvenile. The Sheriff's Department's recommendation may be to the DA's office that this is a case that requires that person to be tried and subject to adult penalties.
That'll be a decision the investigators working with the district attorney's office. They're going to have to assess that the level of sophistication. There's an admonition for juveniles of this age that they're going to use, and they're going to figure that out. Para la audiencia en español, queremos informar que ayer recibimos una amenaza en una escuela de la Unión Escolar de Los Ángeles, se llama Animal May Jameson Middle School. Esa amenaza fue de un estudiante que iba a hacer un tiroteo masivo en la escuela, donde quería asaltar a estudiantes y a miembros de la escuela, empleados de la escuela. Y según esa información, los detectives y los alguaciles encontraron la residencia del estudiante, hicieron una orden de cateo y pudieron recobrar este rifle, que es de calibre .226, es una semiautomática. El rifle no tenía número de serie, pero no tenía información de quién era el dueño registrado del rifle. La información es preliminar, estamos al comienzo de esta investigación y va a tomar un tiempo poder determinar cuán serio era la amenaza, pero la habilidad, la capacidad de completar el crimen o la amenaza es obviamente muy serio.
So this was not a ghost gun?
Does not appear to be a ghost gun, no.
In the threats, did he mention any other recent shootings? Is this a copycat kind of threat, such as the Saugus shooting that we recently saw?
That's my knowledge.
Jefe, can you tell us in Spanish and in English what else you confiscated from the suspect, and specifically what charges he's going to be facing, or you recommending?
The charge he's being detained for is criminal threats, 422 of the Penal Code, and we won't go into details of anything else that was seized at this time, as the detective said we'll leave that up to the investigation itself. Y el cargo se va a enfrentar, este sospechoso es la 422 del Código Penal, que son amenazas criminales.
Do we have a motive for the threat, or were there social media comments as well?
That's still too early in the investigation to determine that now.
¿Han tenido casos como este de amenazas en otras escuelas en fechas recientes?
Sí, hemos tenido.
¿Nos podría decir un poco lo que ha recibido o si está investigando otros casos?
In English, he's asking for other threats. We received a series of threats from the Saugus shooting forward till today, and we've acted on all of them. We've thoroughly assessed them. We received another one, unfortunately. It was also a threat made yesterday at Palmdale Station, and it was a planned shooting at that school, and this was at Pete Knight High School. And the deputies responded to the 3700 block of 70th Street East in Palmdale. And the informant provided deputies with information of a fight that occurred on the school campus earlier that day. As a result of the fight, several students were detained and received suspensions for their involvement. An individual who was involved in the incident made threats on social media and posted pictures of a person holding a firearm. Deputies conducted a thorough investigation and responded to multiple subjects' residences, and the parents were cooperative. They did multiple interviews, and they did an interview with a male juvenile who admitted to posting the pictures of the teenager holding a firearm and the bullets. He also admitted to writing threatening quotes and posting additional threats online. Deputies formed the opinion that threats constituted a level of crime and placed the male juvenile under arrest for criminal threats. He was booked and transported to Sylmar Juvenile Hall.
Where was this in Palmdale? Where?
This was at Pete Knight High School in Palmdale.
And how old was that suspect?
This the age of this subject, I do not have, but he was a student at the school.
Sheriff Lynn is the one you have with a 13-year-old. You've got him in custody. Are there any charges pending against the adults who are at that home, parents, anything else like that?
There is an adult who's also charged with the same.
With the criminal threats?
Yes.
Criminal threats?
Is the adult the owner of the gun?
That is still part of the investigation. We're trying to determine who is the owner.
Was the gun found in the boy's room? Did it appear to be in the boy's possession?
That, we're not going to go into the details of it. It's still preliminary, but we have the subject and we have an adult arrested on the same charge.
Can you say how the adult is linked to this?
That is still, we're still in the beginning stages of the investigation. We'll sort that out.
Is the adult in custody as well?
Yes. Y para su información en español, la amenaza que recibimos fue en la escuela secundaria Pete Knight, en la ciudad de Palmdale. Fue una amenaza también ayer, que iba a ocurrir hoy otro tiroteo masivo. Pero resulta que investigaron, fue el resultado de un pleito, una pelea entre varios estudiantes, y un estudiante puso en las redes sociales una fotografía de un joven con una pistola. Y entonces a través de eso y la amenaza investigaron y pudieron encontrar al individuo que admitió poner la fotografía en las redes sociales, y determinaron que la información llegó al nivel de constituir un crimen, el crimen de amenaza criminal.
En este caso, cuando es un muchacho de 13 años, ¿qué piensa usted de que un joven tenga un plan como este, con un arma en su posesión? ¿Usted cómo ve este caso?
Es un caso difícil según la edad del joven de 13 años, pero tenemos que investigar cómo el motivo y la capacidad del joven de entender lo que estaba haciendo y su razonamiento, pero eso va a tomar tiempo poder hacer cerrar esa situación.
¿Pero el arma estaba en posesión del joven o de algún adulto?
Estaba en el hogar del joven, en la residencia. Yes, sir.
A couple things also on the question, sir, if I can. This is an AR-15 style rifle. This is not full automatic. This is semi-automatic rifle, correct?
Semi-auto, yes.
Okay, on that one. So there were tweets indicating something else.
Separate.
What?
Separate incidents.
Separate incidents, meaning
Yes.
we had another one where a full auto was there? What
Yes.
was that one?
I just need on that one.
Please.
Sorry for confusion on the tweets, I'm the tweet master. The second one was another incident handled by our major crimes, where it was an internet type case where they're looking at a guy buying parts on the internet for weapons. And I guess he was making them and selling them. So they executed a search warrant, found a fully automatic rifle in his possession. That was a ghost gun. A couple other unregistered weapons, silencers, and and a bunch of ammo. So it's unrelated.
It was a separate case.
Yes.
Not tied to this thing.
No. This one was totally different.
And not involving any student or juvenile?
No, this is an adult, but it's up in the Lancaster area where he's dealing in ghost guns.
Yeah.
And that person was arrested?
Yes.
When was that one?
That one might have been about a week ago. You know what happens too? Somebody's going to be fined about kind of late, because deputies just do their jobs and they look at, and they don't realize it's noteworthy. So that's why sometimes we're kind of late in reporting it.
Chief, can you tell us a little bit about the 13-year-old? Perhaps you can tell us a little bit about who he is. Does he have any? Is he a gang member? What else can you tell us about him? A description of him.
Well, being that he's 13-year-old, a minor, we're not going to go into any details about who he is or any type of affiliation or not with the gang. That'd be inappropriate at this time.
Sheriff, can you tell us who reported the threat? Was it a student the suspect made the threat to?
The students that the suspect made the threat to reported to the school administration, and they in turn reported it to us. So, again, we want to thank everyone involved because they all did the right thing. They took the information. When we see something, say something, or hear something, they did exactly that. And because of that, we were able to prevent a possible tragedy today. And
Any reason to believe the Animal May incident related to the Palmdale incident at all, or are they separate?
they're totally separate. Just happened to coincide that the threats were made the same day, the arrests the same day. and they were for threats to be carried out today.
Y la,
None of them happened.
la descripción del joven, ¿podría decirnos algo sobre su descripción? ¿Quién es?
No, la descripción no la vamos a dar porque es un joven de 13 años de edad y eso es confidencial.
¿Es hispano?
Lo vamos a mantener así
Y en
confidencial.
español, ¿puedo decir los cargos que enfrentará el joven en español? Los cargos potencialmente que pudiera
El
enfrentar.
cargo va a ser de amenaza criminal, 422.
Just to clarify, is the adult that's in custody related to the 13-year-old in that gun?
Yes.
The Palmdale?
No,
And
this one.
is it a parent of the 13-year-old?
No, a relative.
A relative? Okay.
When is he in court?
Huh?
When is he in court?
That, I don't know. Tuesday.
Was there a weapon recovered in the Palmdale case?
Yeah. No, not the whole thing. Chris.
Was there?
I mean, in the threat?
Yes.
Oh, no, I don't know that.
I don't believe there was a weapon recovered in the Palmdale threat.
But there was one juvenile arrested for
Yes.
posting photos of somebody else holding a gun?
Yes, exactly.
And what was the type of gun that person was holding?
That I don't have information on that. Okay.
This concludes this press conference. I'd like to thank you for coming out and stand by. We'll be releasing a news release shortly. Thank you.
You know, I got it. I got it up. But you know, I don't think there's anything
I know.
So it wasn't really, I wasn't getting, it wasn't making any sense. I'm just saying, yeah,
Yeah, I'll get it to you guys. You got
So you say your part was heavy. The head is heavy or?
It's, you would think, these are hollow. These are hollow. So you would think, oh, it makes it lighter. No. This is still bulky and still heavy. So, but it's more sturdy. Yeah, well, I had an old one. I had a very old, very old, and they replaced it, so.